So there are a couple of reasons that are bringing this project on, the flooring project. It started with when we bought the RV, there were a couple of slices here in the vinyl, which we've glued down so it hasn't gotten any worse. And that's been fine, but there it is right in our doorway. And you can't quite see maybe on the video, but there's some fading happening. You know, it's just fading in color. But what the real kicker was this. That's Squeak. And this is a spot where two of the subfloor plywood pieces come together. You can even feel this little bump. So by peeling back all of this vinyl, we'll be able to drill this down and tighten it down again. We looked to see what kind of job this is going to be by taking this trim piece off to see how the vinyl is attached and if it's going to peel off really nicely, if there's going to be a whole bunch of adhesive that's going to be a mess or not. We have never done something like this before, but we try to be creative and we try to take things on. So let's see how far we go. We already have a strong feeling the vinyl is going to come up quite easily. We've got the trim piece here. It's tucked under back here. These are very easy, these trim pieces. We're looking at the whole perimeter of the RV to see what we're going to be up against. Under the toe kick of the cabinets, there's nothing. And I'm a pretty good cutter, so we probably won't need any kind of trim. And back here by the bed, there is actually a little quarter round up on the step there to the left is a bit of a quarter round that we can pull off. Maybe don't even have to put it back. We'll see what happens to the paneling. And similar in the bathroom around this corner, which is round, we've got this is sort of a plastic kind of trim. See, it's just glued on. So we're going to preserve that. Oh, it came off already. We're going to preserve that and just glue it back on again. Hopefully the new tile will just slip under. What we have chosen is a nice complementary gray wood plank look instead of the tile look vinyl. And that's what the project's going to be. So crossing fingers. So this baseboard pops off pretty easily. These are really short little brad nails. Got this little device here that pops away. All right, so I've got the trim off the step here by the bed. So let's see what's under. Oh. It's slightly tacky, which means before I take all this vinyl away, I want to do a really good vacuum because we don't need any little lint and any little rocks sticking on this. When you put the new linoleum down, you're going to get all that little dimpling. But, so that's good to know. But it's coming off so nicely and easily. Yeah. So these panels come off the end of the banquette here. And I think when I take the trim off this edge of the banquette here, that trim piece is going to come down as well. So the way to get these off is, there's a frame in the back here. We'll just take these screws off all the way around. And that should pop right off. So there we go. Got the end panels off, got that little kickboard off. What I'm going to have to do is reach in with a box cutter and cut as far under there as I can simply reach, and the new tile will just go back that far and no one will know the wiser. All right, well, I'm going to peel back. I started pulling some of this back. There is a bit of a paper backing here. As I guessed, the cabinetry is laying on top of the vinyl, so the vinyl goes all the way through. I cannot get this out from under here at all. So it must go deep in there. So what I'm going to have to do along the kitchen cabinet bases is just take that X-Acto knife and get or not X-Acto, well, X-Acto or box cutter, and cut as close to the cabinet as I can to remove that. So I got the toilet off. We have a macerator pump toilet, so it's not a hole all the way down and through into the ground, but there is like a toilet ring here that's attached to the ground that you anchor it down with like traditionally. So I've got that off. I'm going to need some help from Paul to like just lift this or hold this up, or maybe we'll separate it completely from the wall just to get it out of the way while I do the flooring here. So I unscrewed the 3 screws that hold the skirt of this shower pan, and it just lifts up ever so slightly. So that's what it's going to be as I shove the new tile underneath. All right, welcome to day 2 of the great adventure of changing the flooring in the RV. So yesterday I removed all of the trim, all of the edging, everything around the perimeter, including the toilet. It's just sitting there ready to be lifted up, easy. I need help with that. I took the end of the banquettes off, the kickboard, everything, the air vents for the HVAC, and I started pulling back the tile to see what I've got. It's slightly tacky, not too much, but the edges, a little bit of scraping needs to be done. But mostly I wanted to expose my problem area, which I did. And this is the area that needs to be dealt with, which is the squeaky.
All right, so one of the problems we wanted to solve in redoing the floor is, of course, this squeak. If you step on this, there's a bit of a squeak. So we did a little research and found out that we have 2 pieces of plywood here that sit on foam and are framed on either side. I'll put a little drawing so you can kind of see how an RV floor is. And what's happened is right where this one seam comes together, this particular piece isn't secured very well. So the foam underneath it has slowly started to wear. So as you walk on the floor, the plywood, it squeaks as it goes up and down beneath on the foam. So we went online and looked at a couple different solutions. It's only this little area that actually gives a little. And there's a couple different solutions we saw. Some people will drill holes and put epoxy in there to fill up the gaps so that you have a really hard surface and this plywood won't move anymore. Other people have used spray foam and used that, which is a little softer. It will deteriorate a little bit over time, but if you have a little bit of a give, it's a good solution also. So we've decided to go with the spray foam. And the reason we decided to go with this is we have a very small area here that we just need to address, and it's not moving a lot. It's not like we have a huge floor area. We're a little concerned with putting epoxy in here. This would be very hard, and then the area around it on the existing foam would be soft, and we'd have the reverse effect. We'd have a very hard area here, and the area around it still has a little bit of give and isn't totally solid. So we figured we have probably just a little gap that's creating this squeak. So what we're going to do is drill some holes and spray the spray foam in there, and that will then just take care of that little gap. And once we have that done, we'll let it all dry. And then for the little transition here, we have some floor leveler. So we will put floor leveler to make sure that we have a very smooth transition between these 2 pieces. All right, I'm ready to fill the holes. First thing I'm gonna do is put my gloves on because I know this spray foam stuff just gets everywhere. All right, so we waited overnight for the foam to dry and set, and guess what? It didn't work exactly. It was better, but we still have a little squeak, as you can see. It's much better over here and over here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to step B, which is we're gonna do the epoxy method. So I bought some epoxy to mix. I've re-drilled the holes out, I've got this to mix it in, and we're gonna just squirt epoxy in. Now this is 5-minute set epoxy, so we will mix this up and we have 5 minutes to inject all these holes, and hopefully this is the one that does the trick. So stay tuned. Well, our project is complete.
About 3 days.
Yeah, give or take.
As you saw, you know, we had to redo the squeaky part a couple times just to make sure it was correct.
Yeah.
And actually, I think it was easier than I imagined.
Yeah, I think the only thing that took us was unexpected was fixing the squeak. But once the squeak got fixed, James is pretty good at laying the tile, and the old tile came up pretty quickly. So,
and with any project, you run into hassles and things you got to just figure out. So engineer around them, which we did.
Yep. So if you have any questions about our install, just put it down in the comments. And as usual, thanks for watching our videos. If you like what you see, hit that like button.
And subscribe.
And subscribe.
And we'll see you on the road
Thanks
with
for
new
watching.
flooring.
That's right. Travel safely.